Hello and welcome. My name's Gustav, and hopefully, I can help fellow South Africans get up and gaming in the unique South African market at this stage of the year. Now, it's October here in South Africa. It's a few months before Christmas, so everybody's looking at getting something over the holiday seasons, maybe for yourself or family member. But I'm going to try and help you guys get a budget PC today and look for something that is within budget for most of our guys to get you up and gaming. Now, please note, I'm not sponsored by EveTech, but I'm going to use a website today to get you guys up and going with one of the cheapest builds that I could manage in South Africa today. So just know that none of these builds, or the build that we're going to do today, is going to get you going in Starfield, but it might get you going in Call of Duty Modern Warfare. It might get you going in CSGO, Red Dead Redemption, even Cyberpunk with decent frame rates. So it's not going to be the best, but it will get you up and going in terms of gaming. So EveTech's got a lot of specials, and I've had a look at some of the other retailers in South Africa. They've got specials as well, but none of them come close to this build that we're going to do today in terms of budget. So let's take a look at the cheapest chips budget PC, and for 5,300 bucks, this is what you're going to get. You're going to get a AMD Ryzen 5 Pro 4650G with a B450M Pro Max motherboard, 16 gigs of DDR4 3200 megahertz RAM. That's usually a dual stick kit, so that's good for Ryzen. A 256 gigabyte NVMe drive, so that's going to be great in terms of speeds for your case. And then you get the standard black EveTech case with the built-in 400 watt power supply. Now, that's my one gripe with this case, or with this build, is the case and the power supply. In terms of upgradability for the future, it doesn't leave you with a lot of room, and also by today's standards, this doesn't look like a gaming PC case like we're used to. So if we go down on their website and we look to upgrade it, this looks very tempting, 45 or 50 bucks almost, to upgrade to an Antec AX20 Elite mid-tower case, and that looks good. But look what happens to the price when we click on that. It shoots up by more than 1,000, but it should only be 50 bucks. So what's happening here is they include a aftermarket power supply as well with the case, and that shoots up your price. So this is most likely going to be one of the other power supplies that they sell, just to get into that case, as these ones have a no-name brand power supply in there. So for 5,300 bucks, you get this build, and it's fairly decent. It doesn't include a monitor or anything, and the build that we're going to do as well now also doesn't include a monitor or any other peripherals. So in terms of upgradability, we're going to try and push this up at least to a 500 watt, or if we can, a 600 watt, depending on your budget, just for the future. If you want to upgrade to a discrete graphics cards and you want to get away from the integrated Vega graphics, which are great, but they're not the best in terms of the higher end games long term. So then we need something more in terms of the power supply. So let's go to EveTech. We're going to go to their upgrade kits, and we're going to see what we can put together here. So in terms of the cheapest upgrade kit they've got at the moment is a Ryzen 5 5500 with 60 or 8 gigs of RAM and a B450M a Pro Max motherboard. But this one needs a discrete graphics card. So even though it's the cheapest one, it's not really going to work for our setup today. But if you've got a discrete graphics card, we'll do a build later with this one and see where we can get in terms of graphics cards and the prices there. But if you're looking for bang for your buck upgrade kit, here it is. It's a Ryzen 4650G, just like the other build we looked at, and it's got 16 gigabytes of RGB RAM as well. So this is going to be one of our stars today. Corsair Vengeance RAM, so that's nice and decent RAM. It's a two-stick kit that I said, and it's a decent motherboard, not the best, but it's going to get you up and going at least for the short term. So this kit is 4,199, let's say $4,200. So that's going to get you up and going. So we're going to add that to our cart. The next thing you're going to look for is your power supply. And this is where I said your money is going to be well spent if you go for something like a 500 watt or 600 watt. Now here it depends on your budget. Now if we're going as cheap as we can, we're going for the Deepcool PF 500 watt power supply. It's non-modular, so you're going to have your cables, but luckily all the guys braid their cables now, so you're not going to see the yellow mustard cables sticking out. So this is going to be our pick for today. If you've got the extra $100 or so, you might as well look at these that are rated at bronze at least for 600 watt, and that gives you a bit more breathing room in terms of graphics cards when you go to a mid-range graphics cards. Next up, we're going to check for our PC cases, and this is also where guys are tempted to spend a lot of money to get the RGB and all of that. Now, as you can see, there are two here at the bottom, cheapest ones that we can check. This Antec NX500M is a good buy, but, and this is where you have to check in the description of each case. Now, it looks very good. It's a decent case, looks like nice airflow. It's got the glass side panel, so it looks fairly good. But this is where it comes in. You have to check for the fans that are included, and it's only got a one rear fan installed in the back, so you're going to have to buy 2 or 3 front intake fans to get this really working for you. And the same with this one, it's only got the 1 fan included, so that's not going to work out for us. Or sorry, 2 fans included in the front, so it's not got an exhaust fan on this case. But for the Antec AX20 Elite, this one for the same $700, it's got all the fans included. I'm just going to go down to where they specify that. Included fans, 3 RGB fixed fans in the front, and 1 120 RGB fixed fan in the rear. So this has got all your fans pre-included, pre-installed. It's got decent airflow and even a 240 radiator support at the top that you can do. The side glass panel, it looks like a very decent case, and it should help in terms of your power management. Front I/O or top I/O isn't bad either. It's got 1 USB 3, 2 USB 2 headphones and microphone. So this is a very decent case for what you're paying. For the $700, this would be my pick, and that should get us at least a long way in terms of upgradability in the future. Now the next thing is going to be our storage, and if we're going for cheapest chips, this is going to be our pick for today, the Kingston 240 gigabyte SSD with read and write speeds of around 500 megabytes per second. If you can spend some more money, you can look at something like this Clev Kras C700. It's a 480 gigabyte NVMe drive, and it's got 1,500 megabytes reads and 1,300 megabyte writing speed. It's got a 5-year warranty, which is also great, but don't be fooled by the RGB. It looks cool and everything. I think for $50 more, you can get the C720 Clev SSD, and it's got 3,400 megabytes read speed and 2,400 megabytes writing speed. It's a bit bigger, and it's got almost double the read and write speeds of this one. So make sure you look at the read and write speeds. I think this is a Gen 3 or Gen 4 PCI speed NVMe drive. So this is going to get you a bit further in terms of storage. It's got 512 gigabyte. If you pair that with a old mechanical hard drive that you might have or something like that, you've got more than enough space to at least move some games around that you're currently playing onto this for quicker loading times and even helping in-game performance as well. But Cheapest chips, $399 for Kingston A400 240 gigabyte SSD. This will get you going to at least load Windows and 1 or 2 games if there's enough space. Okay guys, so if you've been paying attention, you would have seen our prices along the way in the video. So now, if you remember, our base price for the pre-built that we had with EveTech was 5,300 bucks. So this one, we've got the same Ryzen 4650G and Pro B450M motherboard, 16 gigs of RGB RAM. We've got the Deepcool 500 watt power supply, great for upgradability with a discrete graphics card, mid-range in the future. We've got the upgraded case from Antec, the AX20 Elite, with all your RGB fans. So for you guys wanting RGB, there is a bit of RGBness. And then the only part we've really downgraded was our SSD in the original build or the pre-built one for 5.3. This is a NVMe drive, and we've gone with a 240 gig SSD. Now, remember what we said, if you really want to spend the extra few bucks, I think it's like $100, then you can get this one. That is a 480 gigabyte NVMe drive for $100 more. But if we go to our shopping cart now, you can see everything adds up with the discounted price for just 6,195 Rand and 99 cents. So it's about $1,000 more, or $900 to be exact. But I think you get a much better build in general in terms of case, your power supply, and upgradability for the future. Now, if you say you wanted to add a discrete graphics card, I would much rather recommend that you go for the Ryzen 5 5500 upgrade kit. This will get you a better CPU, even though it's not on par with the Ryzen 5 5600. It's not far off, and I think for the money it's a good kit to buy. The only thing that I would recommend is, instead of, you'll notice this is an 8 gig kit, so it's only got a single stick of RAM. So just upgrade it for $400 more. You get the extra stick of Kingston Fury 16 gigabytes of RAM in total. So that I would recommend. It pushes the price up a bit to 4,098 Rand. If you add that to your cart and you go there, you'll notice if we remove the original one, the 4650G, your price will go down effectively by $100. So you'll be at 6,094 Rand 99 cents. So let's say $6,100. But remember, this build is only if you've got a discrete graphics card that you can put into the system, or if you want to add something to this. That is where things get a bit difficult in terms of the graphics cards on EveTech itself. You'll see there's a lot of cheap cards. The GT 710 I won't even recommend. GT 1013 not recommended. Anything with less than 8 gigabytes of GDR RAM is not going to cut it for AAA games going forward. We're already seeing cards struggling with 8 gigabytes, so I would recommend 8 gigabytes being the bare minimum that you would go to. Now, if we have a quick look here, you'll see the RTX 3050 is your NVIDIA representation here around the 6,000 mark, and the AMD RX 7600 with 8 gigabytes of RAM. Now, these two look similarly priced, but there's a fairly big performance difference between these two. The RX or RTX 3050 is about 20 to 30% lower in performance than the RX 7600. So that's just a baseline. So if we factor in these two, you'll be looking at a build of close to 12,000 or just over the 12,000 Rand. Now, this is if you want to buy everything from EveTech. If you can get your graphics card somewhere else, these are some of the deals that I've been looking for and found on the internet. It's something like this, that the RX 6600 on Woodware is a good deal for 4,799 Rand. And this is a good deal because it's brand new. You get the warranty with it as well. It's got the 8 gigabytes of RAM. So you can go a fair bit with this card. I've got one in my personal setup, and it served me well. AMD has sorted out their driver issues, and they're doing regular updates with the drivers. If you go for something a bit cheaper, I wouldn't recommend it, but it's at least better than the 3050 in certain aspects, is the GTX 1660 Super, but it's only got 6 gigabytes of RAM. So something to look out for if you're buying new. If you go to the second-hand market, you can pick up the RX 6600s for anything from $3,500 to $4,000. So for $800 more, you might argue that that's for the peace of mind that you get with buying new and having the warranty. If you can get it for a blazing deal on the second-hand market, just make sure that you test it and you make sure that everything is in working order before you buy it. But yeah, that should get your build roundabout to just over the 10,000 Rand if you can get a graphics card for 4,500 or even 4,000. Then it's just going to be over the 10,000 Rand for a discrete graphics card build like this. So hopefully that would help you guys getting up and gaming in these dark times. And if you guys know of any other retailers that are selling upgrade kits or pre-builds at decent prices, let me know in the comments. If this video helped you, please like and subscribe, and I will try and make some more, even with some good deals from all of our retailers in SA in the future. Then we can help each other out. Hope you have a good day. Cheers.